Hello everyone, this is Lodestone again. Welcome to my channel. There are a lot of things I want to share with you today, and one of them is sharps and flats. Now, when we talk about sharps and flats can be called accidentals, they can be called black keys. They are the black keys on the piano, okay, sharps and flats. And then they have uh, the sign like a small b, but it's not b. That's the flat sign, and we have the sharp sign, which is like hash. You see your hash sign on your phone or in the phone keypad? Yeah, that is a sharp sign. So I really want to explain that on the piano for you. Now, before we take a look at what sharps and flats means on the piano, I would like you to understand that when we talk about sharp means that moving a half step forward, practically to the right hand side, or like moving a half step from one key to the next key in the right direction, okay, in the right hand direction. And when we talk about flat means that moving a half step backward, or practically to the left hand side. That is, you move a half step from the key you are standing backwards, right? That is flat in music. Now let's take a look at it on the piano. Now, applying the concepts of whole steps and half steps to explain the sharps and the flats, and considering the key C. These are key C. If, for example, they say play me or sharp the C, that means that you must move a half step forward, right? So these are half step from C, these are half step. So this key now will be called C sharp. In the same vein, if I'm on D and they ask me to flat my D, I have to move half step backwards. So moving half step backwards will be what? This key now will now be called D flat. So this same key can now be called C sharp or D flat. In the same way, if I'm on D and I move a half step forward, this key will be called D sharp. But if I'm on E and I move a half step backwards, it will be called E flat. Now, if I'm on my E and I sharp my E, it will be F. So E doesn't have a sharp. But practically, and if you want to be very, very observant and critical, this is E sharp. But we can't call it E sharp because it is now F. So if we flat our F, it will be E. So F doesn't have a flat, because when you flat it, it will be what? E. Now, standing on F, what will be the name of this key? It will be F sharp, right? Because I move a half step forward. So this will be F sharp. This is G. If I move a half step backwards, it will be called G flat. This is G. If I move a half step forward, it will be called G sharp. This is A. If I move a half step backwards, it will be called A flat. This is A. If I move a half step forward, it will be called A sharp. This is B. If I move a half step backwards, it will be called B flat. And remember, when I sharp my B, it will be C. So B doesn't have a sharp. In the same vein, C doesn't have a flat, because if I flat it or I move a half step backwards, it will be what? B. Remember, there's no key in between them here, so it is a half step. And from E to F is also a half step. Now, so a quick recap. This key will be called C sharp or D flat, depending on where you are standing. This key will be called D sharp or E flat. This black key here will be called F sharp or G flat. This one will be called G sharp or A flat. This one will be called A sharp or B flat. I hope you understand. Now, if you don't understand what whole steps and half steps mean, I would like you to check the previous video and you will understand. Alright family, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.